how's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Krampus Unleashed. This is from 2016 and was directed by Robert Conway. The movie stars Amelia Brantley, Bryson Hill, and Caroline Lassetter. Now, this movie, for those of you guys who are unfamiliar with the whole Krampus thing, basically in 2015, Mike Dougherty would make the film Krampus, the good one, the one that everybody knows and talks about, but because Krampus is a real German folklore character, and thus public domain, a bunch of people have cashed in making their own Krampus movies. The Dougherty film was in 2015, this one was in 2016, so yeah, this was part of the first wave of unofficial Krampus movies, and like a lot of the ones to come after it, it wouldn't be very good. This movie really doesn't have much going on for it. You get a bunch of characters that are either just unmemorable or completely unlikable. We hang out with them way too long, not really doing much of anything, and then eventually Krampus will get them. It's a movie where not much happens, and to be honest, I watched this not terribly long ago to do this review, and I still find myself staring at the back of the box, trying to remember a movie I just watched. This is such a nothing burger. It is so forgettable. So yeah, like almost all of the unofficial Krampus movies, not really a big recommendation. But that being said, what's the film about? No major spoilers, but what's the setup here? We open up with a prologue segment. First off, a super long block of text explaining that there was a German cowboy who was supposed to be really wealthy and he buried his treasure somewhere in the desert. We then cut to a bunch of old-timey treasure hunters. They dig up the box only to find out it's not gold or anything, but a big rock that one of them explains is a Krampus summoning stone. Now, why would an old-timey cowboy have the Krampus summoning stone? I don't know, but that's the setup here, okay? Krampus, of course, shows up, kills off most of these guys, and the stone is lost until present day. And this opening segment is a really good indicator of how boring the rest of the movie is, because it takes about 10 minutes, and that's the really slow opening text going on forever, them taking forever to dig up and open up that box, and then eventually we get Krampus showing up with some underwhelming kills, but honestly, it was a very boring way to start off the movie, and it was one of those things that I'm like, I can't believe we got so little done in 10 minutes. Cut to present day, I believe we're in either New Mexico or Arizona, and we get a family going to meet their grandparents who they don't see all that often. And yeah, we are in New Mexico or Arizona. It is not a super Christmassy feeling movie, which I honestly think is one of the big issues with this. I mean, yeah, you don't necessarily have to have snow, not everywhere gets snow, but there's not really too many Christmas decorations and Christmassy moments in this supposedly Christmas movie. Like, they put up a wreath, and that's pretty much it. I want Christmas lights and little Santas and for them to be talking about Christmas, but that's not really what you get here. The movie honestly forgets about Christmas for most of the runtime. It's just an excuse for the characters to get together. So you get the family, mom, dad, brother, sister, they go to meet the grandparents, and then you get the uncle and aunt's family showing up, and that's where we get a bit of the problems. Most of the past family members are fairly generic and forgettable, but the uncle's family has a few duds. First of all, the uncle himself, he's one of those like know-it-all and overly judgmental types, you know. He's like a vegetarian and he keeps preaching and he judges everybody for their lifestyle. The thing is though, if it was supposed to be done for humor, it's not really funny and again is just grating and annoying. However, the even worse character here is his son, who is a pervert. This unfortunately leads to a major plot point that I think is supposed to be a joke, even though it's really not funny, where this kid starts to harass his cousin. Yeah, his cousin he's related to. He constantly hits on her and makes unwanted advances, and it is very, very awkward, and I don't know why they decided to put this in the movie. If you're gonna do something like that, make him horrible and then pick him off right away. I still wouldn't recommend doing it though, but he's in here just kind of ruining the movie. He's also an angsty teenager who's just gonna complain about things, and he honestly makes the whole movie super unpleasant. I don't really want to blame the actor, because this is probably just what the script told him to do, but why would you ever write this character like this? I honestly don't know. But most of the beginning of the movie is just setting up these characters, living with them, and not really having much of anything happen. We get Grandpa telling this really long hunting story that doesn't amount to anything. We get some characters going down and panning for gold, and it seems like the actors and writers don't really know how to pan for gold, so we're being a little vague on the process there. We also get this subplot where one of the neighbors is going to wind up being a big character, and she's the ex-boyfriend of the local cop. And again, the local cop's not really a bad actor or anything, but he has absolutely nothing to do in this whole movie, and I wonder why even bother putting him there. Yeah, this movie, I've said it before, it just drags and it's really boring. There's another subplot where these two hunters mistake Krampus for Bigfoot and spend a bit of the movie trying to hunt him down before ultimately their plot goes nowhere. But I do kind of think, looking at these two hunter characters, was this supposed to be a Bigfoot movie? I mean, the Krampus lore is barely in here. It's not a super Christmassy movie, and this version of Krampus does look like Bigfoot with horns. Were they making a Bigfoot movie that at the last minute they changed to a Krampus movie to make it more marketable? I have my suspicions. But eventually Krampus does show up. They of course find the stone and accidentally activate it, and he starts killing people. And I want to say, it's not as bad as it could be. For the record, Krampus actually does look pretty close to how he looks on the box, which for these low-budget Krampus movies is saying something. They actually put a decent budget into making Krampus's suit, like his face actually moves and stuff. Now, that being said, with having this Krampus costume, you do actually probably see a little bit too much of it. Like, really early on, you get some fairly well-lit close-ups of Krampus just kind of staring at you, and he does look like a bit of a goober. And there is a little bit of a special effects budget here where we do get some gore. Again, not anything to write home about, but compared to most Krampus movies, there is a little bit more budget and effort into the gore. Not that any of the kills are particularly memorable or that it ever really gets entertaining or anything, but there is one element of the movie where they did put in something. But also in regards to the kills, most of his kills are what Bigfoot would do. He slashes and claws at you with his hands, and it's nothing too spectacular beyond that. And also, he doesn't ever put Santa in a snow globe, unfortunately. That would be interesting, but Santa doesn't show up in this movie. And eventually, we get to find out a bit about Krampus and try to figure out how to hunt him down, but it ultimately amounts to too little too late. The movie drags with characters I don't care about. It doesn't feel like Krampus. It doesn't feel like Christmas. It feels like we're just hanging out in Grandma's house for some reason, and every now and then the cousin or his dad comes in to absolutely ruin the movie. Not that there was much of a movie there to begin with. And then finally, Krampus, shows up and does a few okay kills. There are a lot of dumb character decisions going, I better run out here for no reason just so I can get killed. So yeah, big shocker here, but like most of the unofficial Krampus movies, I can't really recommend it. Yeah, this movie, it's not so much that it's bad, it's just that it's nothing. I'm glad I got this review done though, because as I said, this movie is extremely forgettable, and at least I made the video before I forgot it completely, and I look forward to my future self watching this video, trying to remember what this movie was all about. Anyway though, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom if you guys want to see me talk about more Krampus movies. You should be able to click right here and see more. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Playlist here. Have a good day now.